All of you know this young lady up here. She's, I should just say she's Amelia's mom and sit down. She is the publisher of the, or editor, I guess, and publisher of the Low Country Weekly, and also Island News. And her daughter Amelia is in Czech Republic on exchange, and she's going to talk from her heart about the experiences that, and the anxieties that she's experienced as a mother of her daughter who's currently on exchange. Please welcome Margaret Evans.
Well, actually, I'm not going to talk exactly about that, but I will touch on that. When Nick asked me to speak last week, it was just really a few days ago, and I said, Nick, I've got a big presentation I have to do this weekend for the Conroy Center, and I've got 2 papers to put to bed, and I do not have time to come up with a presentation, and certainly not a PowerPoint, because I've seen some of the presentations here. Y'all get kind of fancy and professional. And Nick said, oh, no, you just have to speak from the heart. Well, I don't know too many mothers who are empty nesters of an only child who wouldn't jump at the chance to speak from the heart about that child in front of a captive audience. So, I said yes. Can y'all hear me? This feels like such a weird... Can y'all hear me? I feel like I'm going... All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, terrific. Okay, so before I want to start by saying something that may not come out right, and I hope it does, but if it doesn't, just hang in there because I'll bring it back around. And that is to say this: if our family had known exactly how things would play out when we started the application process for Rotary Youth Exchange, I'm not sure we would have gone through with it. Now, having said that, I'm really glad we didn't know, because I'm really glad we did go through with it. But let me explain a little bit. Our daughter Amelia, who just graduated from high school in spring, had dreamed of being a Rotary Youth Exchange student since about her freshman year in high school, when her friend Abby Freeman was sent to France, I think by this club, or it was okay, the Bluffton Club sent Abby Freeman to France for her sophomore year. And Amelia was a good friend of Abby's and went through the whole process with her and followed her in France and was so excited. And Amelia wanted to do the same thing, but she had another destination in mind, and she was passionate about that destination, and that was Italy. She wanted to go to Italy. For some reason, she was obsessed with the country of Italy and had been since she was a young girl. She took Latin all through high school because they didn't offer Italian in Beaufort High. She learned all about the culture of Italy, the history of Italy. She was obsessed with Rome. She finally badgered my husband and me into taking her on vacation to Italy the year after her sophomore year, in the summer after sophomore year. And all the while her plan was, I'm going to go to Italy after I graduate. And so we started the Rotary Youth Exchange process thinking that we could probably go to Italy. She had 2 other friends who had been sent where they wanted to go. One got sent to Germany, that was Quinn Fleming, I think she went through your club, and Anna-Lee Chiavello got sent to Switzerland, which I believe is where she wanted to go. And all the while I kept saying, Amelia, don't get your hopes up about Italy. It's a very popular country. I think everybody wants to go there. So, she was still forging ahead, and so were we, doing all the paperwork, going through the doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments. So the week that she was supposed to go for her interview in Charleston, she got deathly ill. She had this terrible virus and had fever, congestion, a sore throat. She could not go to school. It was terrible. I tried to schedule a makeup interview for her, but there was no way to do that. So the night before the interview, she added a new symptom, which was vomiting. So she was up all night throwing up. We got the poor kid up, put her in the backseat of the car, and drove her to Mount Pleasant on a Saturday in February for her interview.
And she somehow miraculously rallied and thought she had done really well in her interview. Now, I don't know if she did or not. The adults don't get to go into the interviews. But she was still feeling pretty good about Italy. But she also knew that that might not happen because a lot of the other kids did, in fact, want to go to Italy. So she thought, well, we had worked long and hard to come up with our list of 4. They asked you to give them a list of 4 places you would like to go. And so we thought about it real hard. Should we put France or Spain as our second choice? We did a bunch of research. Finally decided Spain. Then France. Then we worked really hard to figure out what our 4th choice would be. Should it be Switzerland? Should it be Belgium? Where should it be? She didn't want to go to South America. She really wanted to go to Europe. She ended up putting Belgium down as her 4th choice. Anyway, when I think about all the time we spent coming up with that list in the order that it would be in, I don't know whether to laugh or cry, because the day after the interview, she got her email and was told she was going to the Czech Republic, a place that she had hardly ever heard of. I mean, she knew where it was, but she knew nothing about it. And I'm laughing now, but she was actually somewhat devastated. I can still remember I was sitting outside on the back patio talking to my mom, and on the phone. My mom was in Alabama, and Amelia came to the back door, and she was still sick, so she was white as a sheet, and she was wrapped in a blanket. She came to the back door, the back stoop, and she said, "Mom, I just got my email. They want me to go to the Czech Republic." And she burst into tears. So I'm talking to my mom, and I said, "Mom, I've got a little emergency. I'm going to have to go in the house and talk to Amelia. Rotary wants to send her to the Czech Republic." Well, my mother said, "The Czech Republic? That's the most marvelous country. Oh my gosh, I've met so many Czech people on cruises, and they're the nicest people in the world, and Prague is supposed to be the most beautiful city in the world." And my mother was just rapturous about the Czech Republic, and I said, "Okay, Mom, thanks, that's great ammunition. Now I got to go in and talk to Amelia." So I went into the house, and I told Amelia everything that her grandmother had said, and I said, especially about Prague being the most fabulous city in the world. And she's like, "Mom, they're not going to send me to Prague. What are the chances that they'll send me to Prague?" I said, "Well, probably not that good, but the whole country is supposed to be fantastic." And she's still sort of inconsolable. So I say, "Listen, if you're really that upset, we'll just rip up our deposit check, and we don't have to do this. We will look into one of those other programs. There are a lot of other exchange programs that actually let you choose where you're going, and we will get you to Italy somehow." But then she started crying even harder, because somewhere along the line, during her process of application, her desire to be a Rotary youth exchange student had actually exceeded her desire to go to Italy. Everything she had learned about the history of Rotary, the history of the exchange program, the mission of the Rotary Youth Exchange, she really wanted to be a Rotary Youth Exchange student. And I said, "Okay then, let's take a day and do some research and see what we can find out about the Czech Republic." And within a few hours, I watched my kid go from being devastated to curious to pretty interested to really excited about going to the Czech Republic. And it was a wonderful thing to see her lifelong dreams shattered and then reborn so quickly. But let's see, I really got away from my notes, but I wanted to tell you all that story. So we decided to go to the Czech Republic, obviously. And now it was time to wait and find out where we were going to be sent in the Czech Republic. Having had her Italy dreams dashed so completely, she dared not to dream that she would be sent to Prague. But she did a lot of research, she did a lot of Googling and reading, and she discovered that there were all sorts of beautiful cities and interesting cities in the Czech Republic, in towns all over the place, and she would be happy anywhere she was sent. She ended up being sent to a city called Ostrava, which is near the Polish border. And it's a major city. It's big. It's about 500,000 people. But it is, it's not exactly what she was envisioning at first. It's a big industrial hub, or it used to be, for mining and steel, especially during the communist era, which didn't end there until about 30 years ago. And there are remnants of the industrial era and the communist era all over the city. It's probably the only city in the Czech Republic that's not beautiful. And so my daughter, being very aesthetically inclined and envisioning herself traipsing along cobblestones, between crumbling castles, was a little bit disappointed by that at first too. However, just hold on, because the story gets good, gets better. Last week when I told Amelia that I would be speaking to y'all, she said, "Mom, please thank them so much for this opportunity. It's not what I dreamed of, it's not what I expected, but in a way, it's so much better." And here's why. She believes, and I concur, that she is learning things and facing challenges and growing in ways she never would have had she been sent to Italy, a place that she already knew and loved. She's in a place far more alien, frankly, and far more strange, a place she could really have never imagined, and she's learning to embrace it, and that is building so much confidence in her. Now, she had a rough beginning. When she got there, they were having a heat wave in Ostrava, and nobody there has air conditioning, but the days were going up to like 90 degrees the first week she got there, and she's living in an apartment. And it was so hot in her apartment with no AC that she could hardly sleep. And she kept texting me and saying, "Mom, I'm lying on top of my bed, I can't sleep." And she developed an infection in her mouth on the second or third day in one of the sockets where she had had her wisdom teeth removed 2 months earlier in Beaufort. We thought she was way past all that. So she develops this infection, her mouth swells up, she has to go to the dentist and then eventually to the oral surgeon and have a procedure, stitches in her mouth. So this was all in the first 2 weeks of her experience. So yes, I had a little anxiety. We were supposed to be like detaching ourselves from our children so they could immerse themselves in their new culture. But meanwhile, my daughter's calling me going like, "Mom, my face is this big, and should I tell my host mom that I think I need to see a doctor?" And I'm like, "Yes." Anyway, there's also the Czech language, which is highly difficult. It's a level 4 language in terms of difficulty, as opposed to a level 1, which is what the Romance languages are. The ones that my daughter thought she was going to be learning. So she's been working really hard on that. She's taking Czech lessons, and her teacher says she's doing a really good job. She's already proficient enough to make her way around town, take buses, use the money, all that sort of thing. The culture is very different. The Czech Republic, while it's really in Central Europe physically, and it's sort of like Western European in its economy and its government, it's very Eastern European in a lot of ways too, culturally. Clara, I'm sure, would say.
Well, it's like Czech Republic isn't West Europe, neither the East Europe. We classify as Central.
You call yourself Central, okay. Well, some people call y'all Eastern, I'm just saying.
We don't like it.
I know that y'all don't like it. That's something I've learned. Central Europe, people, Central Europe. But anyway, the culture is very different. It kind of threw her for a loop a little bit. They put her into a small private school, sort of elite school, kind of like when Clara goes to here, Beaufort Academy. And the kids, she's with kids her own age. They go 1 year later in the Czech Republic, so she's with 18-year-olds, I guess in the next to last grade. And it took a while to get that all figured out too, that she wasn't sure what they expected of her. They put her in classes like physics, and she's like, "Mom, I've already graduated from high school. I didn't even take physics at Beaufort High. I sure don't want to learn it from a Czech-speaking teacher." So once we got all that figured out, she now loves her school. She's making really good friends there. The kids are all very smart because it's a private school that they had to test into. They must be sort of well-to-do because I think it's also you have to pay to be there. They're very, the first thing she told me is, "Mom, they all have tattoos and weird piercings. And Mom, they all smoke. They all smoke cigarettes. Like between classes, they go outside and smoke. After school, they go outside and smoke." And I said, "Amelia, if if you come home with a piercing or a tattoo, I'm not going to be thrilled. But if you come home a smoker, I'm going to beat you senseless. And anyway, she has assured me that that will not happen. We'll see. I'm going to be mad at all the Rotarians.
I don't know. No, I just want to point out something about the school.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that her family there is paid for this school.
Her family?
Yes.
I can't imagine that.
Really? Well, then the Rotary is, one of the two.
Well, I'll find out about that. She's not even sure they have to pay. She says you have to test in, and she thinks it's private because it's so small, but it may just be, you may just have to test it.
Well, usually in Slovak and Czech Republic, they put exchange students in private schools, like they get a scholarship.
Oh, a scholarship.
Usually.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's worth something, you know.
Okay, so somebody's paying for it.
Yes.
Well, she's enjoying it, and she's making terrific friends there, and so far she has no new tattoos or piercing, and she swears she's not smoking. Yes, it is the birthplace of beer. The Czech Republic is the birthplace of beer. I know that Rotary Youth Exchange students are not allowed to drink, but Amelia is 18, and that's legal. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything about that. Sometimes her host parents give her a drink, and she comes from a drinking family, so I'm kind of okay with it. But another interesting thing is that the Czech Republic is known for being the least religious country in the world, and there are plenty of reasons for that that are historical and political, not the least of which is the fact that they were under communist rule until 30 years ago. But Amelia says that all of her friends at school are atheists, and they're always asking her about, they're like, are people in the United States actually religious? And she's like, yeah, some, a lot. And they're like, are you a Christian? I'm sorry, I'm mocking your accent very badly.
Actually, it's really
So they think it's they're not mean to her about it, they just think it's very exotic that she's a Presbyterian. And she said, Mom, I'm not super religious, and she's not. And she said that it's just so weird to be in a place where nobody believes in God, but there are so many gorgeous churches everywhere. And Amelia loves old churches. That was her fascination in Italy. She told me, I'd rather go in an old church than a castle any day. She loves the artwork. She loves the sculpture. And her host family has been taking her to little towns around her big city of Ostrava, and she's gone into a lot of these gorgeous old churches. She was at a family reunion last week in Olomouc. Do you know how to say that? Something like that. Went into two just gorgeous churches there, but she said that her host parents, she feels that they're palpably uncomfortable going into, the whole religion thing is a little uncomfortable for them. Her host parents are magnificent. They are, I think of as a young married couple that are in their mid-40s. Their only child is in Colorado right now as a Rotary Youth Exchange student. So Amelia doesn't have a host sibling in her house. She will, I think, with her next family, but she doesn't right now. But her parents are so much fun. They were 17 when the Velvet Revolution happened. So they didn't study English in school, they studied Russian. So they don't speak much English at all, but her host mother has been taking English while Amelia's been taking Czech. And they're both getting a lot better at it. And they're all using Google Translate around the house a lot. Like Amelia will type in something and hold it up, and her mother will like, blah, blah, blah. When it's something they really have to discuss, because I'm telling you, Czech is hard. It is not like learning Spanish or something. I'm just saying. But like I said, her language is getting better every day. What's really great and bad is that her friends at school all speak English. I mean, that's not their first language. Obviously, Czech is their first language. But they all, ever since the Velvet Revolution 30 years ago, young people all study English in schools starting at a very young age, right? Like 6. I'm so glad Clara is here to confirm all this. I mean, seriously, that's so helpful. So they all speak very good English, and they want to speak English with Amelia because they want to practice their English. And Amelia's like, dude, I have to learn Czech, so y'all need to help me. So they're sort of finding their way. I'm glad they speak English. English because since her host parents don't, I'm glad she's not completely isolated with nobody to talk to. But everybody's being very helpful with her, trying to help her with her Czech as she helps them with their English. And that's a lot of fun.